Joe Bonamassa himself saying, "Hey guys, I'm sorry for chiming in so late, but I must warn all you fellow gear nerds to stay away from Vertex effects and pedalboard services. Mason is not truthful, nor is his work good, or in most cases, his own."
Now would be a great time to make sure you subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss out on any of the latest guitar-related news that's going to make you the coolest kid at Guitar Center.
What's happening, party people? Welcome to Blues Lawyer Confessional. This is Jack.
And this is Matt Esquire.
I've been getting a lot of pop-ups. We talked about this before I hit record. I've been getting a lot of alerts about Vertex effects, the Dumble amp, and the newest amp with their badge on it. I'll phrase that way. The Doctor's Special. Dr. Special is a hand-wired D-style 50-watt tube combo amp with Mason's face on the ad here. I don't have any Dumble amps. Do you have any Dumble amps?
Not a one.
And I don't think personally my playing style would go towards that kind of amp, but it would be cool to have one. And for the low price of $39.99 at Sweetwater, you could have your very own Dumble-style amp that's hand-wired, Vertex Effects Doctor Special. Could be yours, your pride and joy. I like the little subtle SRV plug there. I occasionally enjoy Mason's channel, the Rig Doctor. I think it's interesting to watch sometimes. And I am aware that Mason and Vertex had issues with a wah pedal in the past that they had some issues with. But one thing I noticed on this amp, in addition to it not being available, is that if you look at the back, it says, manufactured by Amp Guy in collaboration with the Rig Doctor Inc. and Vertex Effects. Now, I teased just 3 seconds ago with the wah pedal, and that issue was Vertex purchased pre-made wah pedals, put their logo on it, and sold them to people as their own product. And then I started to get the suspicion that Vertex didn't touch this amp at all and just put their logo on it, and they're selling it as their own thing. Doesn't smell right, Matt. I don't know. How do you feel about this?
The way I feel about this is, Vertex definitely has an admitted history of doing funny business when it comes to where things come from. And the problem with that is their issue, which wasn't really an issue. I mean, an issue is, this accidentally slipped through. The issue was that they were purchasing apparently wah pedal from someone else, stripping it of its badging, maybe swapping in a potentiometer or two, and then putting their own stuff and marking it up, which is not legal. I mean, it's really not. It runs afoul of the Lanham Act. And as guitarists should be aware, the Lanham Act will get you. I mean, that is the problem with Dean guitars. They got hit for Lanham Act violations.
Yeah, but the Lanham Act on the guitars was a different. It's like customers purchased pedals they thought were presumably boutique high-end pedals, and they were Chinese knockoffs with a different logo on the outside.
Well, that is exactly what the Lanham Act is for.
Right,
but when you're changing the origin.
Right, but the Dean guitars are just the Dean guitars, right? Like they just made them look the same as the Gibson guitars. So with that in mind, then it does say on the back that it was made by somebody else. It has Amp Guy, Rig Doctor, Vertex logos on the back panel. It says handmade in Canada. So this doesn't run afoul of the Lanham Act, but to me it feels shady in that if you watch his YouTube channel, he's working the soldering iron, he's selling $40 patch cables. And then it says in the copy here, it's hand wired. And to me, that's telling a consumer that Mason's sitting there in his garage doing the Dumble, the guy is wiring it for you. And that's why the Dumbles were, $100,000 because it was the dude and it took months to make it. And that's what it was. But in reality, what you're getting is a different amp shop making it. And to me, I think Amp Guy is probably awesome. I don't know what they cost without the Vertex logo, but I do know that you can get an Amplified Nation amp that's very similar for for less than the price that the Vertex ones are selling for. I just don't know what's happening here, and I don't know what he's trying to do.
Bottom line, what he's trying to do, number one, is make a buck, like everyone. That said, if I got $4,000 to spend on an amp, I'm probably not going to be spending it on some guy who's got this in his history. I just wouldn't. I can put that $4,000 to someone else and know more about what I'm getting. And when you start doing funny business with language like, oh, it's hand wired. By whom? It's hand wired. I mean, come on.
I'm sure it's a fantastic amp. It's just, to me,
I would hope it is.
Because if he's making a rip on it, okay, he's not doing this for free. There's some value that Amp Guy feels the Vertex Rig Doctor Mason name brings to the table, right? Like the added value is this puts it on Sweetwater for you to purchase instead of you going to the Amp Guy website, filling out a form, and then getting your amp a few months later. So the value to them is it gets them on Sweetwater. But it still says back ordered, more on the way. I am pretty sure there are none on the way. What I think happens is you get on the back order, Sweetwater Scott sends in the order, Vertex forwards it to the Amp Guy builds the one amp that you ordered and then sends it to you months later. But
that wouldn't surprise me.
And if that's the case, then let's get that effort for Vertex to get their name on it and get their rip, and go to Amp Guy directly, and then compare that to the one made by Amplified Nation. See who can get me for the best price and as quickly as possible. And then, as you said, I feel more confident on what I'm getting and where it's coming from.
I'd go Amplified Nation. Also, hand wired in Canada, hand wired in Massachusetts, which is, I believe, where Amplified Nation is working out of. What is the actual value add? Is this just Mason's perceived value of Mason's name on it? I don't see it.
Oh, and that goes to it's worth a try, right? Like there is no stock of these amps. This isn't like PV or Marshall or someone pumping out, thousands of amps for the shelves at Guitar Center and whatnot. These are made to order. So it's a zero risk to him, zero risk to Amp Guy. And he can say that he's got an amp in his catalog, and maybe one day they'll make an amp, but it's a bizarre I mean, the guy sells $30 patch cables, $30 or $15 power cables, the little power patch cables. But one thing I would have him do is rig doctoring. If I were a touring musician and I needed a pedal board put together professionally that I would want to have serviced, I think that's a fine service because I'm pretty confident that it'll be efficient and tight and work. Maybe I'm overspending for Velcro and 3M loopy things, but that's a service that I can get my head around. I don't quite get the expensive patch cables, and I'm not getting this $4,000 amp, even if Robben Ford says Vertex is okay.
Robben Ford might say it's okay, but I think it was Michael Landau who said that they weren't. So Michael Landau also wanted out, as I recall. I may be mistaken. It just strikes me as you're paying a lot of middlemen there. You're paying Sweetwater, Mason. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's two middlemen right there.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. Just go to the source, because I'm sorry, I just don't see Mason's name being that valuable.
And what's the resale value on? Like, again, not that I'm someone who buys, sells, and trades lots of stuff, but the theoretical investment in, if you drop $4,000 on a 2-rock, is that if you get tired of it, you get all your money back and more later.
Yeah.
I don't see... It might be a great amp, but if I spend $4,000 today, I'm on Reverb right now, $3,500. So It's someone bought one, is looking to get out of it, and they've already thrown away $500, which that could have been a 6505 head, on a good day. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't see them selling a lot of them, but I guess in the end, if they sell any, he wins. He makes money, and if they don't sell any, then Amp Guy will say, you know what? We're going to take this off the site and not make them available anymore. It doesn't cost. I mean, it's kind of nonsense, but at least now I know about Amp Guy. Again, they do the same Dumble people thing where it's the same ones that people like to get. They're all available, and this might be the elder millennial in me, but I go click on the amp I want, and there's no price. Contact us. Click here and fill out a form. then I have to start talking to someone, and that just makes me anxious, and I don't want to proceed anymore.
Amp Guy's defense, if I'm ordering a bespoke hand-wired amp, then yeah, you know what? The elder millennial, the Gen Xer in me actually is going to say, you know what? Fine, I'll pick up the phone. You know,
yeah, you like that relationship. That's fun for you.
For me, it is. You know, but then again, you know, I spend my day at my desk with a freaking earbud in there doing the old talking on the phone all day long, anyways. So
there are no Amp Guy amps on Reverb, by the way. Just to let you know, there's nothing there.
Well, that just tells me that maybe people are just happy with their amps.
Yeah, maybe. If I spent $4,000, and then you talk to the person who's making it, you know, you're looking at an investment that's exactly what you want. Alternatively, right. Amplified Nations, you know, they can be had on Reverb for between $3,000 and $5,000. So again, that puts you right in the ballpark. And again, I think all day you could turn around and someone is going to give you between $3,000 and $5,000 to buy it off you if you decide that it's just not for you.
Yeah,
you don't want to be John Mayer anymore, and you're going to move on to Stevie Ray Vaughan. On his custom cables page, he has a picture of Rhett Shull.
Yeah.
Holding up his board, and then he's advertising $26 4-inch cables. If you watch his video where he tells you how to make these exact same cables, it takes him 4.5 minutes tops. It's just nonsense.
That Shull video's from over a year ago.
No, so again,
if he's still riding that,
well, he's not. You know, he tore his board apart. But also,
no, I'm talking about if Mason is still trying to milk that. A year later.
Right. And I mean, you know how websites are, right? You get one nice photo that works on the top and you keep it there for forever. But
yeah, but if the best he's got is Rhett Shull.
Oh, Rhett Shull's a big name. Yeah, but if you're going to Vertex's website, where'd you see him? You saw him on YouTube. And if you're watching YouTube, you're watching Rhett Shull.
Right.
And so I get that. One thing that I noted too is that he 100%, every guitar YouTuber that I've ever watched, there's a common video that is, my rig failed.
Yep.
And I wonder how many of these guys had them professionally made. And the answer is all of them. All of them went to a pro rig doctor who doctored their pedal boards to do this stuff and all the connect to the MIDI controller and all that stuff. And they all end up getting messed up in real life. And the question is, do we need rig doctors? Or do we just need to say, hey, you know what, let's keep it simple and make less fiddling, more playing?
Oh, yikes. Joe Bonamassa, I mean, granted, this is a 9-year-old post, but I mean, Joe Bonamassa himself saying, hey guys, I'm sorry for chiming in so late, but I must warn all you fellow gear nerds to stay away from Vertex effects and pedalboard services. Mason is not truthful, nor is his work good, or in most cases his own. He had me on his site without permission as a user and a happy customer. I was neither happy nor do I use any of his products. My pedal board sounded awful, took tons of gain away, and added huge ground hum. It also cost $1,400, and that was after I pitched a fit when the $2,000 bill came to my tour manager, all while seeing unauthorized YouTube videos of my, quote, new rig, close quote, a rig I never tried nor signed off on. Fortunately, Dave Friedman. Yeah. I don't know if that's the same Dave Friedman of Friedman Amps.
Friedman Amps, it is.
At Rack Systems came in and saved the day for $400. All I wanted and asked for was to have some cables cut to size. I didn't want to waste Dave's time, so I gave it to Mason. Big mistake, in all caps. I am very disturbed by his actions, and I've heard recently that he has been called out on some wah-wah pedal stuff. Bad news bear, that cat is, unfortunately. So, in closing, just trying to keep my fellow guitar nerds from getting ripped off like I was. Caveat emptor, Joe Bonamassa.
Wow.
And that is on the Joe Bonamassa forum.
And that's definitely verified Joe Bonamassa.
I would think so. It says Joe Bonamassa, administrator.
That sounds fair. I'll take that.
And I'm the post though is 2014.
Oh, okay. So it's only 9 years ago.
Yeah, 9 years ago he screwed over Joe Bonamassa.
We have one letter from Robben Ford, which actually looks like a text copy and paste onto the Vertex website. And then we have the post from Joe Bonamassa. So that's some damning quote right there. That's a 1-star review if I've ever heard one.
And then Michael Landau, like I said, he had an open letter too. He said that he never owned a production model Vertex. He anonymously purchased one so he could have it compared to the BBE Benoit by a reliable source who's known for many years. I wanted to have a first-hand account of the results, and the results show that Vertex Accessoire I recently purchased was identical to the BBE Wa. Obviously, I can't be involved with a company or associated with a person who runs his company like this. So officially, as of September 6, 2014, I no longer endorse any Vertex. You've got Michael Landau, who has one of the most well-regarded clean amp models, signature models, the Hot Rod DeVille Michael Landau signature, which he had them take the one of the channels and turn it into another clean channel, and then he also just had his signature Strat too.
The Coma Stratocaster.
Yeah, which
looks nice. Only $2,800. So if you
went out
there and got yourself a Landau Strat and on Reverb, you could pick up a used Amplified Nation Wonderland. You've just beaten the Rig Doctor special price.
When you've pissed off both Bonamassa and Michael Landau,
Yeah, you kind of did something there.
Imagine you have a glass of water. You can pour water out, pour water in, but once it gets empty, it's smashed, and you can't fill it ever again. He smashed his trust glass. Then evidently, I think he tried going back, and he's changed his story over the years, and it's like, nah, sorry, I don't trust you.
The stuff that normal folk buy from Vertex, and the Steel String Supreme, or the Ultraphonics Overdrive, the Boost. I mean, those are boost and overdrive pedals that are in the 200 to 250 range. That they're copies of other products that exist already, and they probably are also in that same price range. So you could live your life happily without purchasing any Vertex products. If I happened upon a Steel String by Vertex, I wouldn't be offended. But yeah, it's just feels icky. Less fiddling, more playing.